Yo, bro, that was an insane finale of Gen V, man. I cannot wait for Season 3. What are you talking about, bro? There's no Season 3. There's just the franchise.
I should have gone to fucking bed! Should have took a fucking nap!
Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for Gen V. This one's going to be doing my final review for this season of Gen V, guys. We've already made it to the end. This is Gen V Season 2, Episode 8, titled Trojan. So, this is our final review of Gen V for probably like the next 2 years, because usually this show only shows up every 2 years. Also because, and they made sure we fucking knew it at the end, which massive spoiler warning, they make sure you know that The Boys Season 5 is coming up next. This ending, this cliffhanger for this episode was absolutely set up for the next season of The Boys, and I was just so excited to see that. So, I loved this finale. I really did. This was a banger episode. It wrapped up a lot of different things, and it brought everything to a really insane conclusion. So, this episode basically now is about Thomas Godolkin, the real Thomas Godolkin, being out there and, announcing himself publicly as, obviously the new dean of the school. And obviously now we have, him that's kind of, controlling everybody and this and that. And he's kind of, has everybody under his boot, basically. And we get to see a massive, massive fight in this one with Thomas Godolkin versus our characters, which I thought was absolutely amazing. And, we have a few things here, because we have Dr. Gold now in this one, or I guess Doug, right? And he's obviously still played by the Cypher actor, but he's just Dr. Gold now. So, he's kind of innocent, and he's kind of like, I didn't know, anything like that, and, he's like, I didn't know what was happening, And obviously, they kind of take his word for it and everything, and he's injured pretty badly, but it does look like he pulls through, and he has a final interaction with Polarity where he says, like, yeah, I actually really liked your son, man, like, I really liked, Andre, and you kind of have an emotional sequence with them too, which I thought was really, really nice. But then, out of nowhere, the car gets freaking wrecked, and you have, obviously, Doug that gets impaled and killed. So we do lose Doug in this episode, unfortunately. And now that Doug is, like, fully just dead, I will say, round of applause, genuinely, to the actor, because he was able to play a menacing psycho and an innocent, just funny character at the same time. So I have to give him a lot of props. I think he's the best actor this season, genuinely. He did a really good job. And then, of course, well, on top of that, when they crash, you find out who, of course, made them crash, and you have Polarity that just is barely alive as he gets out of this crashed vehicle, and you find out the person that made them run off the road is no other than Black Noir. So Black Noir cameos in this episode, which I thought was absolutely insane. And you have him in this one. He kind of pulls up, and then you get a scene with him later on where he's, like, interacting with him, and he's like, no, man, like, yeah, how you doing, man? They're, like, debating, like, TV shows and stuff like that. This new Black Noir is, like, the funniest thing to me. I just find him absolutely hilarious. I can't help it. He's absolutely funny as hell. But yeah, so obviously we get that. We have Marie and the rest that kind of share, some final moments with each other. Kind of, I like the moment where Marie and Emma and Kate were kind of talking with each other, and they're kind of like, yeah, like, we're so close now that we're, like, practically family, you know what I mean? Which I think definitely makes sense, how close they've become. And Marie does finally heal Kate's powers. She gives Kate her powers back. She decides she's going to do that. And Kate actually lives up to her word. She does not attack them. I was kind of worried. I was like, oh, shit. But no, Kate stays loyal to them. So honestly, I'm at a point now where I can say, I think Kate's trustworthy. I think we're good with her. I think Kate's pulled through. But obviously, obviously Tom will tell. But I'm pretty sure Kate will pull through. I'm pretty sure she's loyal now. She's given, her powers back, and she does not attack them. She, completely just, acts like herself, and that is that. So I thought that was all really, really good stuff. And then obviously on top of everything else, we have, the opening scene of the episode, which I thought was insane, where you actually see Thomas Godolkin burn, which was pretty insane. So we do also see a flashback there at the beginning, seeing all that stuff kind of go down. So obviously we've got all this stuff going on in the school. We've got all of them kind of interacting. We've got, them kind of planning on a way to take out Thomas Godolkin. He's made his announcement that he's back. Marie does a follow-up, video to kind of bash him and this and that and, kind of expose him for the lies that he's telling and, all this other kind of stuff. So I thought that was really interesting. We also have Sister Sage, who's massively involved in this episode, as we basically see her and, Thomas Godolkin. They're, like, sleeping together. I guess she's just cool with him being him. She, like, doesn't care if it's Cypher or Thomas Godolkin. She knows the whole thing. But I thought it was really interesting because we constantly hear over and over and over again this season, and this episode really went into it, how Thomas Godolkin could realistically, control Homelander, even, if he wanted to. Like, he can control Marie, and he could probably control Homelander himself. Now, we don't see Homelander in this episode. I was kind of thinking we would see him, but we didn't see him. But I was hearing that a lot, is that a lot of people saying, like, yeah, he could probably control Homelander, and I was like, nah, like, there's no way he could control Homelander. But yeah, I think he could, because when you get the confrontation, and low-key, let's kind of go into this, the final fight with them is absolutely insane. You basically have them, they're in the training room, you've got all these students that Thomas is basically controlling, and you can tell that Sage is not really, for this, she's not really enjoying this, and she's like, this is not part of Phase 2, and I'm like, yeah, you said that at the end of Season 4 of The Boys, too, what the fuck is Phase 2, you know what I mean, like, we don't really know what's, going on with Phase 2 yet. I'm sure we're going to learn more about it as we go into The Boys Season 5, which, is confirmed to be 6 months after this, so that'll be very interesting as well. But yeah, no, I thought that was nuts. And then on top of that, not only do we have that stuff going on, but we also have obviously more of our just kind of main, characters obviously kind of, trying to figure a way in, and they find no other way in but then to go up the guy's ass and crawl out of his ass and basically go in there and face off against Thomas Godolkin. This frickin' show never fails to amaze me, man. You never know what you're gonna see. So they come out of his ass and basically they're all standing there and they're confronting him, and then obviously it's a fight. So honestly, y'all, I did not expect to see Thomas Godolkin go down this episode, but spoiler warning, you get Polarity that comes in. And you get Thomas Godolkin that controls Marie at first. Marie turns on the group, and she's about to kill Jordan. You can tell that's where that was about to go. And yeah, no, it doesn't happen. Marie actually almost beats him, and then he flips on her and is able to control Marie against the rest of the group. Marie, like, raises the blood and this and that, and she, like, turns against the entire crew, and, yeah, she is not, like, herself at all. But you know what I really found interesting is the moment where she was giving the speech, and it was, Cypher controlling what she was saying. The actress for Marie, I really have to give it to her. She really captured the personality and essence of Cypher in that brief moment. I'm not going to lie. She really impressed me as an actress, I must say, because that's not an easy thing to do, to capture that same, mannerism and, this and that. And I think the actress really killed it, honestly. So good job for her. But I like that scene. And then obviously she ends up flipping. Obviously they end up, getting the advantage of them and stuff like that. When Polarity comes in, they knock him back. Marie is back to her normal self, not being controlled anymore. She goes up to him and she frickin' blows up Thomas Godolkin just like he trained her to with the GOAT earlier this season. I knew that was set up for something. But they blow up Thomas Godolkin. She blows up Thomas Godolkin into smithereens. And that is the end of Cypher / Thomas Godolkin, whatever you want to look at him as. So, yeah, W's Marie. Genuinely, W's Marie. She wrapped that up in a really, really exciting fashion. And, genuinely so damn impressive, honestly, so impressive to me. So yeah, good job to Marie, good job for her powers and everything that she did, and taking him down in the fashion that she did was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Now, in terms of kind of just the conclusion here, so we've got them that are leaving. Polarity stays back. He basically, sacrifices himself for everybody else. He doesn't die, but he says, like, you guys need to get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? So he does that, of course, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm doing what my son would want me to do. And I love that Marie said, like, yeah, that was for Andre. You know what I mean? So they definitely paid respects to, Andre in this one, which I really appreciated. So that was really nice. And then they take off, and then, well, you get a massive, massive ending scene to this season and to this episode. They're out there, they're not really sure where they're going to go, and then all of a sudden, the lights start flickering, and I was like, oh shit, I know who does that shit, And you see Annie / Starlight come down, and she's like, yeah, I've actually been looking for you guys, you know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck, And then boom, Zip comes in, frickin' A-Train as well. I was like, holy shit, we got A-Train and Starlight. Let's frickin' go. And they come in there, and basically they're like, yeah, like, you know, we need some people to join this, you know, resistance and this alliance. And they're like, yeah, we're forming something right now, you know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, so we're not the only ones? And she's like, no, you know? And I'm like, oh shit, the boys, let's fucking go. Yeah, they're basically forming an alliance. So, and you got like Emma that's like, okay, so this is like a team up. This is like an assemble, like a crossover, you know? And I'm like, yeah, it looks like it. So, I'm assuming, because that's how they ended this season, that we're gonna get all the Gen V characters as, you know, at least guest characters or maybe even main characters in The Boys Season 5. So, shit, that's really fucking cool, man. That's really fucking cool. I'm down with that. That is awesome. So it looks like that is where we set things up. And we're going to be 6 months later when we start Season 5 of The Boys, from what Eric Kripke has mentioned. So I don't know how any of that works out, but what I do know is that this season, and I will kind of recap us now for this season, I oddly and shockingly and happily enjoyed the absolute shit out of this season. I did. I thought this was awesome. Honestly, this is one of my more favorite things on TV this year. This was a damn good season of TV. It was enjoyable. The action, the character drama, the development, the villain, I mean, everything, honestly. The way it tied everything into the franchise, very faithful franchise season. Honestly, I have to say, this is a damn good season. The finale is a 10 out of 10, first of all. The finale is a massive 10 out of 10. I loved it all. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But as for the season, I would say this season is at least a 9 out of 10. At least. I mean, honestly, I think they killed it with a lot of their writing. There was a few slip-ups this season, you know what I mean? There was a few, but nothing like The Boys Season 4. Like, this was actually a really good season of The Boys. I would call it a season of The Boys. This was really good. I would say it's worthy of calling it a Boys spinoff season, for sure. So yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I don't know when we'll be back with Gen V. I would presume 2027, so it'll probably be a while before we hear any news or anything like that, so this might be it for a while for Gen V, y'all, unfortunately. You know, we'll cover Season 3 if it happens. I don't know if I've ever seen a finale, though, that felt like if you were going to end Gen V with this episode and just put, you know, these characters in the main show, you could do it. Genuinely. This episode is so good that you could play this up as a conclusion for Gen V if you really wanted to. You know what I mean? But I feel like they're going to do another season. But if, let's say this is the end of Gen V, I would be totally fine with it. But I don't think we're going to have to do that, though, because I think there's going to be a third season. I think they've been mentioning it. So I don't think it's going to be a Peacemaker situation. You know what I'm saying? I think we're going to get a third season. So, yeah, really cool stuff, man. Honestly, really good stuff. Really great season. I'm so fucking excited for The Boys Season 5. That cliffhanger with them assembling now and more than likely getting the Gen V characters now in the main show for, you know, obviously representation of this spinoff, I think is about to be a really exciting thing. So, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed Gen V. I'm so excited for Season 5 of The Boys. That's the next thing coming up in this franchise. We got that, we got Vought Rising, and then probably another season of Gen V, I would assume. If Gen V just isn't getting a third season, then we'll do a video about that discussing, you know, this series concluding, because to be honest, I'll say this, I'm equally as happy to get a third season as I would for this to just be the end of Gen V. This is a good end for Gen V. Like, if this was it, I would be totally fine with it. But if we get a third season, then W's, because I really enjoy this show, especially after Season 2. I think this show is really good. So, I think it would be good either way, but again, we'll have to see what happens. It's, you know, very up in the air. Only time will tell. So, anyway, if you're new to the channel, guys, and you enjoy videos like this, guys, make sure to click subscribe, and so you don't miss any of the videos. Make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys, and of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos for Gen V. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.